Hey guys, welcome back to another video in the Mario Kart 9 discussion series. This is part 3, which is retro tracks. Now, unlike Nintendo, I actually have a balanced list of two tracks from each game. Now, with the dilemma of Mario Kart 64 only having one track left, yes, a whopping one track left to use. I had to use another one which has already been remade, but until Mario Kart 8, they weren't really remakes, they were just ports. So Mario Kart 8 is the first game that actually started revamping the tracks. So I'm using a couple other tracks that have been reused, but they would be good for this game. So to start off the list, for the Shell Cup, we have DS Mario Circuit. So this will be the first, only because in the Nitro Cups, we don't really have a circuit track. I mean, we have the dome, which is like the stadium, but this is the Mario Circuit track, so we obviously need a standard circuit track. The next one we have Wii Toad's Factory. And now I know I have Wario's Factory for the Nitro tracks, but I think this could be a distinguished enough. But it probably could be really any other Wii track. I just thought this one would be pretty cool to be in the list. Next up, we have 3DS Shy Guys Bazaar. Yes, this is the game of Shy Guys. This is the second track for Shy Guys. This is actually a pretty cool track. I mean, it's kind of similar to the Mushroom Market track. So either they could distinguish that from this, or they could pick a different retro track, or I should have just had a different idea for a track because the market's too similar to the Bazaar. But that's just my fault, it's not Nintendo. But then the last track would be Wii U Water Park, and they really couldn't do much with this. I mean, it's from the last game and it's HD, so this would just pretty much just be a port. I mean, they can't do much with it. Maybe if whatever the new game mechanic is, it would be in this track, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. Next cup, we have the Banana Cup, and the first track starts off is GBA Riverside Park. The GBA tracks are very underutilized. They haven't really done much with the GBA tracks, even though when they do, they're actually pretty good. I mean, sure, they're flat tracks, but if you saw Cheeseland and like Mario Circuit from GBA, they totally revamped them to make them feel like new tracks, so I don't see the problem here. Next up we have Wii Luigi Circuit. I'm gonna give my boy Luigi some love here. Give him his own circuit too. Next up we have SNES Vanilla Lake. I believe this would be the first SNES ice track. I think they haven't really used the Vanilla Lakes yet, so let's go with the first one. Why not? Next, and then to round it off for this cup, we have N64 Wario Stadium. This was the one track they haven't used yet. I mean, Nintendo really loves using N64 tracks, but I'm very surprised that this one hasn't been used yet. So I threw this one in here because it needs to be remade. It's its time. It's been a long time. Next up, we have the Leaf Cup, starting off with GCN Mushroom City. This track is so amazing, and it actually looks great on a GameCube. Imagine how good it would look on an HD console on the Switch for the next Mario Kart. It would look amazing. Be a very difficult track though. It's a very hard track. It's like Moonview Highway, but it's not. It's Mushroom City. It's better. Next up we have N64 DK's Jungle Parkway. This is the other N64 track I went with because it was in Mario Kart Wii, but they didn't really do much to it, and I think it's a pretty interesting track, like layout wise and even aesthetically. So I think it'd be a pretty good track for this game. And then next up we have DS Waluigi Pinball. This has been this returned in Mario Kart 7, but it pretty much looked identical to the DS one. And dude, imagine how amazing this would look in HD, dude. I mean, this track is beautiful already. I mean, it's such a cool track. One of the best in the Mario Kart series, hands down. So if they remake it in HD and anti-gravity, whatever they want to do, oh, it'd be so good. So this track definitely needs to make a comeback. Because I already know Nintendo likes to reuse tracks multiple times. Why not do this? Why not do it with Waluigi Pinball? And then the last track for this cup is SNES Bowser Castle 2. And I don't know how many Bowser Castles there are for the SNES for Super Mario Kart, but from what I've seen, they haven't even used Bowser Castle 1, 2, or 3. If there's any more of that, I'm not sure. But if there's only 3 of them, they haven't used a single Bowser track from the SNES, so they need to use one of them. So I'm going to put 2 in there just to be in the middle of difficulty, you know? And then for the last Retro Cup, we have the Lightning Cup. Start things off with 3DS Rosalina's Ice World. Another Ice World in here. I know I have Vanilla Lake, and I also have Cool Cool Cabin for the Nitro tracks. But I think Rosalina's Ice World is a pretty cool track. I mean, it's a theme we don't really. It's the first time we've actually had a Rosalina track, so I think it should make a return here. And the next up, we have GC and Wario Coliseum. Okay, this is the second Wario retro track, but okay. In Mario Kart 8, Deluxe at least because of DLC, they had 2 Wario tracks in the base game and in DLC. I don't know if DLC is coming, so I just included both of these tracks, Wario Stadium and Wario Coliseum, in the base game because who can have enough of Wario? He has like the best tracks in all the series, the most diverse and distinct tracks out of all of them. So I definitely think we should see Wario Coliseum. Plus, fans have been asking for this track specifically because of the anti-gravity mechanic and of how good this would look in HD, dude. That's my main like kind of thought process for these tracks, the retro tracks, is how good would they look revamped in these fresh new graphics, in this higher resolution. So I think this is definitely need to be a pick. And then we have Wii U Electrodrome, because people seem to like this track because of how cool it is. I think they should bring it back because of how they brought Music Park, or Melody Motorway, depending on where you live, to Mario Kart 8. So I think they do the same thing with this game. Bring Electrodrome to Mario Kart 9. And then, of course, the last track needs to be a Rainbow Road. Because of the last, because of Mario Kart 8, that's the trend they're setting here. So what game should it be? Well, we already have Super Nintendo Rainbow Road. We have N64 Rainbow Road. I mean, I would love Double Dash Rainbow Road, but that'd be 3 Double Dash tracks. So it has to be Game Boy Advance. That's the Mario Kart Super Circuits Rainbow Road, because that's the next one in the game series, and it only has 1 track in the rest of the cups. So this would be a pretty cool track. I obviously think they need to do a lot with this, because as it is now, it's not a very interesting track. It's kind of flat, so they need to do something. I know SNES Rainbow Road is flat, but I mean the thwomps make like the ripple effect, and that's just a cool track. Okay, so they're allowed to do that for that one. But I think they definitely need to innovate with this track. But yeah, guys, overall this is what I have for these retro cups. Leave me your ideas in the comments below if you have any other ideas. I think a couple of these tracks will be interchangeable with other ones because of how much room there is in, like, let's say Mario Kart Wii, Mario Kart 7, and Mario Kart 8 especially, because obviously none of those tracks have been used yet. And Mario Kart 64 is the most tight in what we can use because most of it has already been remade. And you can't even use another track like, well, obviously we already have Royal Raceway in Mario Kart 8, but we couldn't even use Mario Raceway or Luigi Raceway because Nintendo does not want to use the same songs for the tracks anymore. And those tracks contain the same song as Wario Stadium, so it would contradict each other, and I don't think it would work in the same game. So you really got to look at this perspective of what would Nintendo do. Obviously, they wouldn't be very even and organized like I'm doing it, but I'm just trying to be better than Nintendo. Well, anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.